Evtol Weekly, episode 10. My name's Liam.
And I'm Reese. And we're back.
And you know what? We've done it.
I know.
10 straight Evtol Weeklies. Reese, I said it to you before. Around 2% of podcasts and live streams make it to episode 10. So I want to thank you. It is a bit of a commitment, but do you know what? It's worth it for this whole community. Any news of the week?
No, nothing major. I think it's good. We made it to number 10. So top 2% now. I think we can put that on the bio. Nothing major. It's been a quiet week. I think the market's still trying to find itself out a little bit. It's not. We're not back to the peaks yet, but I can see it maybe over the next few months starting to rise again. We're having a bit of a consolidation period, it feels like.
Yeah, speaking about the market, like, it's not only Evtol, the whole market is it feels like it's in free fall at the moment. Is there any part of you that is starting to get a little bit, not nervous, but a little bit shaky?
I think sort of our motto here is that if you buy into the stock, believe in the stock, at some point, in order to get the returns that we all want to see, the big green days, you're going to have to go through a few of these bad red days. Unfortunately, that is just part of these sort of volatile stocks. But if we all were here for the Coca-Colas and stuff like that, we'd have a much safer time. But we'd also be here for the next 100 years. So I can imagine everyone here is want to try and get there as quickly as possible. And unfortunately, this is just part and parcel of it.
Well, that's the thing. It's part and parcel. And I think some people get a little bit upset when they see these pullbacks happen. They're in it for the big, massive, quick runs, but they're not in it for the steep pullbacks. And I think we've mentioned that before, that anything that goes up this quick comes down this quick. I think we mentioned that back in December time when we seen the massive run up. We said there will be a sharp pullback at some stage. Now, this is macro conditions. Have you any thoughts on Trump's 10% tariff? So he put 10% on China originally. He's put an additional 10% on today. And then there's 25% from Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is. It's an interesting one. But I imagine there are a few deals to be cut here and there. I don't know if they'll end up like weakening the pound, weakening the dollar. Sorry, just to make up for it. So even though he doesn't post these tariffs, if the dollar becomes weaker, it might just become in relatively the same sort of cost. I think at the moment you're seeing the effects of them tariffs, and then also the fact that everything else sort of dropped. So there is a lot of fear in the market. But
yeah, well, I've seen Tesla Model Y, 15% of their components have been made in Mexico.
Yeah,
so that is interesting.
Well, that's it. I've seen an interview where he sort of says that as well to Elon Musk. So like a big thank you for helping me out, but you're getting tariffed as well.
Yeah, like the only thing I want to kind of compare it to is a bit like, do you know when Brexit all happened? Mad panic over here, like we will never be able to buy from the UK. There'll be extreme tariffs and all that. Look, I still buy from the likes of Amazon and that. It doesn't. Do you know the world still revolves? Like, I don't think it's as big as some people are making out.
Yeah, there's ways to work around it, I think. And I guess we won't see the actual effects of it until we've had a few months. Like we're not going to see the end effect of it this quickly. Like he's only been in office for best part of 6 weeks. Even though I do know he's signing off executive orders like they're hotcakes at the moment.
Oh, mate. Speaking about Trump and speaking about things, I want to jump into ACHR. So Goldstein has met with Secretary Duffy.
Yes, I've seen this.
So he is Minister of Transportation over there. Now they're talking about air mobility and how to more or less expedite them into the US cities. Are we starting to see Archer finally get up there with Joby and start more or less cranking the screw?
Well, in a like relationship wise, Archer just always seems to have these like relationships, and they seem to be building them over time. And I think that's something that we've given Adam a big like pick up on it, basically, of just saying that that's his speciality, isn't it? He seems to have very good relationships. He seems to be able to build a rapport with these different like stakeholders, and then manages to get these deals done. But I think, to be fair, for the whole eVTOL industry, it's a good sign that that's where they're looking forward, aren't they? They're looking forward to the next few years, which I think is good for everyone.
So Coalesce says Archer's going to lead the way and overtake Joby. Mark my words. It's
I think
starting
that's
to
a common
look
theme on
that
this.
way.
Yeah.
It's starting to look that way. But then you had a little bit of news about Joby today, didn't you, as well?
Yes. So I did have it up here. So it was about the. So yesterday, apparently, they delivered a second aircraft to the Edwards Air Force Base as part of its ongoing collaboration with the U.S. Department of Defense. And the fact that this is their fifth aircraft. So at the moment, we all know that Archer haven't actually developed their aircraft. They were saying summer. So design-wise, actual manufacturing-wise, it seems like Joby are ahead, but you'd expect it because they started in 2009. So they did get a few years ahead of Archer. But in terms of relationships and stuff, it seems Archer have like really quickly caught up, and they've closed that gap. But that's what I think is so interesting. I think that's why we all are so intrigued about this eVTOL space, because you've got two competitors and like who will come out top, and each team has like their own like positive pros and cons. And I think that's what makes it quite fascinating.
Now, one thing I want to commend you on. So I want to apologize to the guys. So when we get the likes of the earnings report out and the press release, we literally get it at the exact same time as everyone else, and we're reading it at the exact same time everyone else gets it. So we're trying to analyze it while also present it to the guys, while also trying to speak to each other about it. And we will get better as the shows go on. We'll start time managing ourselves a lot better. But we didn't get to the likes of the financials in both streams. But you actually done a bit of a dive into the financials. So I want to say to the guys, if you haven't seen that, make sure to check that out, because I think that is probably one of the most important videos we have put out in a long time.
I felt like it was information that we need. Obviously, we didn't get out there during the stream because obviously the chat was sort of running, and we had to sort of go the flow of the chat. And I felt like maybe we could have steered it away, but it felt quite natural that the way the chat was running. And then obviously we both had work the next day, so there wasn't actually any time. That's why I thought I need to get that video out so that the guys and girls know what they're looking at. And the fact that I've just went in, I tried to summarize it and make it as, to put it in layman's terms, and make it very easy with the graph that I put up.
I thought it was quite impressive, because one thing I want to say is, guys, sometimes it is so hard when you get certain information, and financials is probably one of the hardest topics to make interesting and simple for people. And I think you've done an amazing job on that. So thank you for that. Then we have Dylan Rogers. I think I need to look more at the certification map that Archer puts in its shareholder letters. I believe to look at what is left on the map and what they have not been able to cert. Do you know what? I want to thank Dylan Rogers, and I'll be dead honest with you, Dylan. I've skimmed over the email you sent me, but I haven't been able to make a video on it yet. I want to proper sit down. It'll probably be Saturday by the time I proper sit down and break it down, and then I will do a video on it. But I want to thank Dylan. He sent me a detailed breakdown of the earnings. And that's one thing about this community. They just seem to keep on giving.
It's always good. It's always good to have someone that is like as passionate and enthusiastic as you are, Because I know at one point we thought we were just the like two oddballs. We were two outsiders, and you just find people that are exactly the same as us and have that same passion and want to come and just like find out everything about the stock. And a lot of the time, they have new information that we haven't even found.
Yeah, like I was looking at our analytics the last day. We have people in the likes of, well, heavily in the US. We have Europe, we have Australia, we have Africa, we have India, we have China. It feels like we cover every part of the clock. Like, I want to tell the guys, it is, what, 20 past 10 here now. Both myself and Reese have work tomorrow. If you really want to know, me and Reese were just watching a football game. So, like, what's really nice is sometimes we're able to get videos out just in time for some of the US guys to be finished work. But yet, while we go to bed and while we sleep, the likes of Dylan Rogers is sending me information over, helping me for then the next day. It's just absolutely insane how this like community just pure tie in together. So I want to thank you guys for that.
Now I'm just answering there about Dylan's certification query. I think this is one that actually was mentioned in. I think this is one note that was actually mentioned in the actual stream. Is about the certification, because I don't know who or where it came from, but there was like rumors that ACHR were only in stage 2, and that meant drawings. And I seen the chat run away with it. But that's just reminded me that I need to do a video on that, because obviously there are some of our viewers that might have just read the chat and have taken away that ACHR are at stage 2 and Joby at stage 4, which will mean that they're not well informed at this point, and they've literally. I can imagine it was probably Bag that has steered them that way. But yeah, I'll do a video sort of maybe doing a similar sort of vein in terms of comparing the two and see which stages they're at, and what, if I can find the information, what they need to go through to get to 100% stage 4.
Yeah. Then, guys, let me know as well if you've seen any of our new videos this week. So we started doing a few like little podcasts like clips of me and Reese speaking about different topics. So we thought it'd be fairly interesting for like you to give us a few questions and us to be able to answer them. So I think starting from this week, if the guys at the end of the stream want to put in the comments certain questions they want us to discuss, and we can break down and create videos for them, I think that'd be quite interesting. But what I'm steering on today is we done a bull case on the likes of ACHR and Joby.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry, guys, we done a bear case on both ACHR and Joby. Will we do a little bit of a recap of them for the guys?
Yeah, I think it'd be quite good to see what everyone else's opinions are on it.
So,
and give us a feel of the community.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, feel free to jump in and give your thoughts. And look, guys, we're not going to bite. If you disagree with us, please tell us. So, Dylan, I think new videos have been very cool, and you guys together have been great video content. Thank you so much, Dylan.
Cheers, Dylan.
It seems to be a little bit weird after the recent pullback. It feels like not as many people are searching up ACHR and Joby. It feels like people are a little bit scared in the market. But you know what? It'll be okay. The Duffy meetup has been mega intrigued. Do you know what? Enough about Liverpool. I don't want to fight about it at all. Arsenal, mate. That's it. I think snippet videos as news comes out would be amazing. For example, the Duffy FAA news as it's happening would be awesome. Now, the only thing we find a little bit hard, we do work in the middle of the day, so while the market's open, me and Reese do be at work. But we can, come market closing, we'll be able to do a few snippets. Now, the only thing is, mine and Reese's work schedule doesn't always match up. So that's why sometimes you may see one of us come on a video. And as well, I don't really want to take away from the fact that I feel like the two of us bring something different as well. So I think we will still be doing single form content as well, because it's just hard to put the
fun time to.
bang a time together. So ACHR Launch Edition program has me excited about the opportunity to deploy the aircraft in Georgia and to find fast early revenue.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's major news, and the fact that they brought it out now. I think for any sort of company that's in its infancy like this, to get revenue is so important, because otherwise it's just cash burn, cash burn, cash burn. And if the money's going out, you want to see some sort of revenue coming in. And I imagine even from investors, if they do start seeing, I don't know, £20 million contracts here, £20 million contracts, it shows that it basically just gives it the stamp of approval that people are willing to pay for this technology. And so I thought that was massive news. And I think we've looked through the earnings call again, and we were quite surprised how much the ACHR stock tanked midstream, bearing in mind that there was no news there that really would have alarmed you. I wouldn't have said.
Yeah. No,
that was a big surprise.
Looking back at the ACHR stream, at the ACHR earnings, I feel like ACHR have a clearer way to revenue. It's like they've mapped out their revenue pathway a little bit better than the likes of Joby. Now, what's frustrating me as well, guys, is it feels like we're beating down Joby constantly, and that's why I think it'll be important for us to now get into a bull case on Joby and some of the benefits of it over the likes of ACHR. I feel like these last few weeks, with the lack of PR, then a bit of a clown show of a earnings presentation. It sounds like we're constantly beating down Joby, but for any of you Joby guys, we are about to do a bull case on Joby. So I think Adam has gotten a bit exhausted with finding the way through the FAA, and seems that GCAA is the path for the first few midnights in the UAE. Is it that he's getting exhausted, or are they getting in the slipstream of Joby? They're sort of more or less waiting.
Yeah. Like, he's quite a shrewd operator, and he could be playing the game. Oh yeah, we're a little bit behind, and then once the rules are all made up, being like, oh okay, that's fine. Let's plow on.
Yeah.
Let's get in there.
So,
and at the moment, it seems like they are only probably like a quarter or 2 quarters behind, like in terms of the FAA process.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like if we're looking at the bigger picture, we're taking a few steps back and pulled over like a 10-year span. What is 2 quarters in the space of 10 years? Nothing really.
So I'll dive across. I think we'll start with Joby, just because I feel like we're always talking about ACHR. And guys, if you are big into ACHR, we will cover that after. But we won't do as comprehensive as we done in them videos. So guys, if you want to see them videos, make sure to check them out. But we'll just run it off the top of our heads. Joby Aviation. They started in 2009. They are the silent steam train in this race.
Old reliable. That's what you could call them.
Yeah. They have a bulletproof balance sheet. Like, you can't take away from the balance sheet. I think you broke it down with the Toyota tranches, and they've broken down into 250 million tranches. And if they get them over the line, I actually think they have a stronger balance sheet than ACHR.
They do, yeah.
If they execute everything.
The one question I do have of it is the $250 million tranches. We thought it was going to come out in Q3. We thought it was going to come out in Q4. I had like a little bit more information on what are these tranches like, what's the stipulations, how do we unlock them? At the moment, I just don't know if there's enough information. I do trust that they must be achievable. Like, Toyota wouldn't give their name out, but maybe it is just literally due to it's just a partnership with manufacturing, because I imagine that's where one of the areas where Toyota would probably be most use in terms of getting up to scale. because I imagine them trying to get Evtols over the line might not be the easiest of options. But obviously, once they actually have these approved and certified, then they can actually get them scaling, and that's where Toyota will obviously have the edge.
I'm getting a 20k bonus. What you say, you to me throwing it into ACHR. So, first of all, this is not financial advice. And second of all, if it was financial advice, I'd say split it 10k and 10k and throw it to one hustle brother each. But no, on a serious note, we can't give financial advice. If that was me with 20k, it's a good time to enter the market now. I feel like we're in extreme fear. Would I be throwing it on ACHR or Joby? I think it's really depends on your financial position.
Yeah.
If my portfolio was only 20k,
No,
I've
think you need
told
to
you
go.
before, guys, about how I feel about concentrating a portfolio when you believe in something. But even though we have this pullback, we got to look back. Where has ACHR been over the last year? And this pullback is only really a mild pullback over. Let me look over the last year. We're up 78%, and that's with the pullback. I'd be careful. I'd dollar cost average if I was going in. I made a video last year about Rocket Lab and how I missed the bottom of Rocket Lab, but I could see Rocket Lab still pulling back that little bit further. I don't think the pullback is over yet. I do think over the next week or two it'll start evening out, but just some random Tuesday when the tariffs come out, I don't think we're gonna correct ourselves already. But look, we are no specialists. We're two passionate men, as I say every time. But tell me, how'd you get that 20k? Because I wouldn't mind that.
It's not too bad, is it? The I think
I want to donate here. I'll show you how I would invest that.
Yeah, I always think about like diversifying and splitting risk basically. So it's just depending on how risk. Well, for me, it'd be risk adverse, but if you want to add a bit more risk into it, because obviously there are a few stocks that can just keep that portfolio ticking over. That if you don't want to lose that, like if you don't want to risk any of the money whatsoever.
That's a bit of an interesting one. I don't think we have ever actually spoken about that between the two of us. Would you be more of a diversification man and be more risk adverse, or would you say if I gave you 100k now today and you had to start from zero? Would you be a diversification man, risk adverse, or
so you give me 100k or I start from zero? Which one?
You start from so you have nothing in your portfolio now, and I give you 100k to invest. So
I think
you're starting with no shares.
Yeah. Well, like what I'd have is, let's say, 50% of like something that I know is pretty much guaranteed. Like I'd say one of your Magnificent Seven sort of stocks, or maybe a few of those, because then I know for a guarantee that that money is sort of safe or as safe as can be, and then I'd split it out then to my other stocks that are sort of the money makers, the ones that have got the possibility of doing a 10x, let's say. And depending on how committed to each company you are, depends on how much you like to split.
And I'm going to re-ask you that question. Say if I give you 10k, would it change your mind? Would you be more risky?
I think it. Well, 10k, I'm probably going to be maybe a bit more risky. I think.
Yeah,
it's a funny one, isn't it? Because like when you're trying to generate that wealth, you do need to go a little bit riskier to try and gain the money.
So there's different skills needed in order to generate wealth compared to keep wealth. To generate wealth, you need to be able to take a few risks. Not absolutely mad, but you do need to be less risk adverse. But the more you get and the closer you get to your goal, If you pull off them same moves, like, look,
Yeah, you risk losing it all. That is the problem, isn't it?
we are extremely bullish on ACHR and Joby, but if I started from 0 and you give me 100k, I wouldn't be putting it all on ACHR and Joby. Like,
yeah,
but if I started with 10k, do you know what? It depends how quick I need to get anywhere. I feel like it really depends on your personal circumstances. If you can end up, say, like, who have we got here? Zed Stacker. Zed Stacker, I believe he works in Walmart. 20k bonus is absolutely mad. So 10k isn't too much risk if you're messing around with that. If you end up getting a 20k bonus plus you have your wage. However, 100k gets a little bit more dangerous, and you have a lot to lose. But I think I'm getting a little bit sidetracked there. I'm 26. I'm all risk. Now, I wouldn't tie. I think this is one thing channels do is they tie age and risk. So once you get older, you shouldn't risk, and once you are younger, you should risk. I'm not about that life. I'm about it all depends on where your actual portfolio stands. You could be 18 years old and you could have a $2 million portfolio. Just because you're 18, I wouldn't risk it all.
Yeah, exactly that. It's just about diversifying the risk. Like you have, for example, if you've done like a horse race, if you put it on multiple different horses, you'd have a better chance. Because it just is like with these companies, there is a chance that one of like ACHR could be better. Sorry, Joby could be better than ACHR, and then you've only put it all on ACHR, and then you'd be like, oh, why didn't I put some on Joby? Yeah. Or like the Tesla of this world, Tesla could end up 5xing, let's say. You'd be like, oh, I should have put some on that. It's all relative, though, isn't it?
And that's the thing with Joby. So I'm going back to the bull case with Joby. I think over the last few while, we've seen it across the channel. You find a lot of retail have sold out of Joby and gone into ACHR, and I think that is primarily down to PR, because if you tell 100%. Me they have looked at the likes of the balance sheet and that, there'd be no reason to sell out a Joby at the moment.
Yeah. Well, the fact that they're manufacturing-wise, I know the Georgia facility does seem like it's leaps and bounds ahead of their Ohio one. But in terms of actually manufacturing, like how many crafts have been built today, as we speak, Joby are ahead. They are ahead. That's it. Like, that's a fact. And in terms of the design process, they're ahead. They're closer to part certification. That means they're closer to commercialization. Like when you look at it like that, when you look at the brass tacks, the actual facts, you're sitting there thinking like, how the hell are Joby not miles ahead? And it's the PR. The PR is the equalizer. And to be fair, hats off to Adam Goldstein for it. But then I think in the same breath, what we need to say is, Joe Ben, hats off to him because he's built the better product and he's basically done the hard yards, and Adam has presented it better.
Do you know what we've been calling these Pepsi and Coke? Do you know more like what it is like? It's more like Coca-Cola and Prime. Coca-Cola don't need to advertise. They're just nice and slow, where Prime have just came into the market.
I like that, yeah.
They are quite valuable.
Well, over here, we had a time where like people were buying Primes for like $10, $15. Some guy got a price like done for trying to like was it price gouge or something for selling it for 75 £75. It wasn't even dollars. So that's probably what $90. Crazy. It was like, but people were buying it for their own kids because like they marketed it so well, and it just goes to show it's all about marketing.
I want to tell you a story. So I'm not gonna say his real name. My little brother, what do we call him, Jacob. So Jacob went down to the local corner shop, and he was selling Prime down there. And at the time, I think Prime was like 10, 20 euro or something like that, yeah. And I remember him ringing me, can you send me, it was like a £5. Your man has Prime, he has Prime for a £5, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he was buying it, but he said it tasted awful like what do you call it? Diluted orange. Yeah. And I was like, Jacob, what do you mean? I taste it. And then, out of pure curiosity, I was up in Asda one day up north, and I tried the exact same bottle, and it tasted nothing like that. What Mr. Corner Shop man was doing, he was getting these
Fine,
old
empty
bottles, yeah, and he was filling it in with the thing. And Jacob was spending good hard-earned money. So, guys, there's plenty of ways to, I don't know, skin
the cat. Yeah, that's
the cat.
yeah. That's I guess that's one way to make money, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not for very long, but yeah, in the short term.
that's my story about Prime.
But no, I do think that is very similar case in terms of like that PR. I don't think the product was. I don't think when you drink Prime that you're like, wow, this is an amazing tasting drink. It's so like I'd take this every day.
Yeah,
But it's got, I don't know, it's just been marketed so well. It's everywhere. Boxing matches, WWE, all of the sports. It sponsors Arsenal. I imagine, I think it's the UFC. It sponsors.
yeah.
Like marketing wise, it's the best in the game. Like there is nothing better at the moment, and like you can
And they've
see it
just
in its stock.
broken into the market. Yeah,
Yeah. And it just goes to show what that PR can do.
and guys,
Obviously, that's on a much greater scale than ACHR is at the moment.
but some of you are gonna say to me, "Don't compare Prime and Coca-Cola to these two." But what I think, and it leads a bit back to the bull case, or it leads more into a bit of a bear case too. But we were discussing the likes of the older generation. I don't think this is targeting the older generation. And some of you guys will be like, yeah, it is money, this, that, and the other. But if you think this primarily is going to be to do with technology apps, being able to use the likes of, for now, it's like your Uber app. Can you imagine like your granny being able to book
No,
Uber app?
it's impossible.
So when we look at the likes of Prime, which you can say is primarily targeting the likes of kids and that, if I asked a kid today, which is bigger, Coca-Cola or Prime, I actually think they'd have a pretty hard time telling me.
Possibly. That is a very good.
Bigger, which
is
bigger.
Kids under a certain age, actually.
Archer and Joby. If you've never heard of Joby or anything, I think guys would have a pretty hard time telling me that Archer isn't as big as Joby if they've only jumped onto this hype trend the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's why I compare it to Prime.
I think that's a very good analogy. I think the other thing, though, does go to show that you don't need the elder market. Like Prime has like a great example of it, where the fact that they've basically went with the niche of people who know YouTube, and usually that is just the younger audience. Like I imagine there were so many parents that didn't even understand what Prime was, but their children were just going absolutely insane about this drink, just a random energy drink.
Man knew what it was before it was a thing.
Yeah. Well, some people have their finger on the pulse. Good hustlers out there. We need to get them on the. We'll get them on this one week on an Evtol weekly.
If Corner Shop Man came on here, mate, I actually think I could retire.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I think we'd be a million subs in no time with Corner Shop Man.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'd know what to do with the 20k from Zed Stacker.
Yeah.
He'd have some very good crypto.
Scaffy would.
Class.
So, Dylan, one reason I leaned towards Archer's side was it was less of a heli look. And for me, I feel like getting on a plane, feel nervous and have been on traditional helicopter before. And I think that was a point we brought up. Guys, I want to ask the chat. Take your eVTOL header, yeah? Let's think of it. We're a consumer, yeah? We have never heard of an electric air taxi. We've never seen one of these, whatever. The fear of flying is a thing. Let me tell you that, yeah? I actually don't know how many people are afraid of flying, but I can tell you a lot more people are afraid of flying than they are of traveling in a car. And I know guys that traveling between the likes of Ireland and England on a commercial airliner, they'd rather go by boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd rather it could take 14 hours.
Yeah. And how long would the flight take? It would take what, 4 hours, maybe door to door?
Yeah.
If that,
So like, you can't just hit me with convenience, because that ain't gonna work. It is gonna be a lot of public perception, and I do think PR is gonna play a big part of it, because you're gonna have to get this. You're gonna have to get people excited to do this, and I don't want it to be just an adrenaline rush that, oh yeah, I must fly in one of those, and then it'd be a one-off. And
because we need repeat business. That's the thing about this. In order for it to become as popular as or to be as cheap as a black cab or a yellow taxi, there needs to be repeat business. There needs to be constant people requiring the service, so that money just keeps coming in. If we only get one customer, or we have like an influx of customers over the space of, like, I don't know, 6 months, because it's very popular, and then it just dies out, like, the industry's gone, isn't it?
And then I think we made an interesting point as well when it comes to, I think they're great value for money around airports, because number one, if you're going to an airport, you better not be afraid of flying. So like, you're going to fly on one of these. And number two, you actually said a personal story that when you're in London and you're trying to get to an airport, it could cost you 60, 70 quid just getting an Uber.
Easy,
so like, really, one of these is probably, it could be cheaper and get you there quicker.
And the other thing I want to mention, if you're on holiday sometimes, say if I'm going on holiday, sometimes you don't mind spending that extra bit, because you're like, we could get the cab and it'll be, I don't know, £90, or we could get the Evtol and it might be £100. When you're like, well, I'm on holiday, then I might as well treat myself. If they are going from airports,
then do you want that to be your business model?
Really? Well, I'm just saying, people will be more confident. Like, I think when you're on holiday, you're willing, because you don't mind like treating yourself while you're there. That would just be one avenue of it. And then if it does end up knocking 30 minutes, 40 minutes off, I imagine a lot of people wouldn't mind spending an extra £20, £30. Like, what's the reason you get a taxi rather than the bus? Because it'll knock away 30, 40 minutes.
No, I used Grok3 to pull up an American study that says 6.5% of people in America have some level of fear of flying. Now, 6.5% doesn't sound like too much. Yeah. However, these are for families and stuff like that. So say
if the parents,
there's, I don't know, 5 of you in the family, and grandmother and grandfather are going in. Next thing, that's 7 people. Yeah. One of them is getting close to, one of them's going to be afraid of flying. And then next thing, the whole family don't go on the Evtol, because they're not just gonna send one guy off in a car on his own.
I don't want to really
5% sounds a lot.
I don't want to really fire strays at EHang, but in EHang's model, you'd need 8 EHangs to get that family, or 7 EHangs to get that family to the airport.
And then what about luggage?
Oh, that's another 7.
One
each. Yeah, one each in the passenger seat.
Do you know what? EHang has actually been doing quite well recently. Let me look at EHang now. Oh, I don't know. Has it pulled back? I think one of the guys said it in the Discord. Oh no, we're still pumping away. So EHang over the last while, what are we at?
Nah, to be fair, in the last
month, up 26. Over the last year, 87%. So EHang actually are pumping away.
Yeah,
maybe we should.
That security guard's been busy, I think.
Guys, do any of you invest in EHang? And if you do, please tell me reasons why you invest in EHang. Vaz, how are you getting on? Hello, congratulations on your first live show last night.
First of many.
Me and Reese jumped in after our live stream. Do you know, it was pretty funny. So me and Reese sort of sat down with a cup of tea after it, and we're like, do you know what? Let's look at Vaz's thoughts. So congratulations on it. You've done really well.
100%.
You are definitely the second best investor channel on YouTube. But
100%.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no.
Happy to be here on the second best Yeah, I know you're on the second best channel. Welcome to the best. I love you, Vaz. Top Vaz, always the jabs. Vaz is in the building. Vaz actually told me I did look like Morgan Freeman, so I'm actually pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Like the Temu version.
Yeah.
But guys, do any of you actually invest in EHang? Also,
Yeah,
Vaz, how is Lilium doing at the moment? I actually haven't been looking at Lilium. Have you been looking at Lilium
that's a good
recently?
point. No,
I want to know
that's
how
a
Lilium's doing, and I also want to know how that Hover's doing, because we have 3 or 4 people that keep
yeah,
spamming every comment is Hover
yeah.
on every video. And I actually had a guy tell me that our channel's gone boring because we wouldn't do Hover. And it was a bit like, mate, if you send me the information on Hover, I will do it, no problem. But it's not something I have been dying to do because
No,
it
I don't
doesn't
know.
look too appealing to me. Like what? Over the
No,
past 6
definitely
months,
not.
it's down
The
48%.
the value of it's just too small.
Do you know what? I'm gonna do it now,
Yeah, and the
guys.
market cap of it's 14 million.
I'll do my quick thoughts on New Horizon aircraft. Looking at the chart over the past year, it's 61.27% down. To me, I would not touch this with a barge pole. Before I even look at the business and what they do, I
No.
just think this is absolutely. The market cap is 14.516 million. I can see why guys are going in on it. Because they just think we're just going to 100x.
Yeah,
This
it's
market,
going to get dragged up by the rest of the market.
it's
very difficult to enter the
Joby
Evtol
and
market
get
anyway.
over the line. So, like, I don't know how a 14 million market cap company can even come close.
Yeah, well, they'd
be able to
spent
buy
like
what?
450 million.
They'd be able to buy like what, 10 S4s. They could buy like 5 S4s and 5 Midnight and sort of like just go after them.
Yeah. They might as well just wait and buy a few trips on ACHR and Joby's Evtols once
Just
they're
buy
up.
a few E-hangs and bring certain families up.
Yeah. Do you think it'll become like, the Ubers when you're out with your mates and you're like, oh, there's 4 of us, but can you take, I know it's a 3-seater, but can you take 4 of us?
No. But that wouldn't
Like
work, yeah, because Tiger Holden says they can't lift a certain weight, yeah. So like if you put too much in, you won't be able to take off.
Yeah. But it's all make believe in his head, it's all make believe anyway, so
Tiger Holden did make me laugh. He reckons the price would skyrocket if they put 5 crash dummies into the thing. But I think it would make him bullish. It wouldn't particularly make me bullish. Like, I believe that they can do. I want to see 5 people in there, yeah? That would make me extremely bullish. Put in 5 crash dummies in it. Mate, like, you can do it. Like, I'm not going to be against it, but like, it's not going to make me think, oh my God, it's actually going to work.
No, 100%.
I'd love to bring him on an Evtol, mate.
Spinning back to
I think he's afraid of flying. You think he's 6.5%?
Yeah, definitely, 100%, 100%. Which would make it an even better video.
He just wants to go by boat everywhere, and that be it.
or horseback.
I actually want to know what he does invest in, because he seems to be short on quite a few stocks.
Short, yeah. Oh. Well, hopefully he's doing all right on that. At the moment, he's definitely.
At the moment, he's probably making a killing, but like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can get caught out very, very quickly.
I was going to say, yeah, you'd want to hang that hat up pretty quick, because I can see there being another rally now in the next month or so. So yeah, you could easily get basically priced out of that. But yeah, spinning back to what we were just saying there about the PR, that's probably something that I'm a bit more bearish on the Joby side of things. Because obviously we did discuss about this adoption of the VTOLs. We're going to need the consumer to want to ride on it. And I have more faith in ACHR to get the PR out there, to speak to the right people, to basically do the social media campaign, get the influencers involved, and push it out, basically like they're very similar to what they're doing now. Obviously, Joby could get just someone on their team that is that sort of like guru in terms of that social media presence and can basically just get that consumer adoption that we really need. And I guess it is a little bit further down the line, so they do have a bit of time. But based on track records, at the moment, you would say ACHR. You could put like you bet the house on ACHR doing that. And at the moment, I couldn't say the same for Joby. That's the only thing that does kind of concern me about Joby, because I think they're going to have a brilliant product. They're going to basically get to the finish line, and then they can't cross it because they fall at the like final stumbling block. Yeah. And what a shame that would be, going from 2009.
Then another thing I think of it, maybe we're hating on them too much with the PR and that. Yeah, the PR ain't great for us investors. However, that doesn't reflect on what their PR might be like when they actually go to market. When they go to market, their actual advertising might be like on point.
Yeah.
And is the PR for investors, is it really a waste of time? You're either with us or you're not. Like, we're showing you what we're doing.
And there is another like element of maybe they're just trying to keep costs down, so they don't need that person at the moment until they get to the stage where they're going for the commercialization. When they get part certification, they actually need to now let's do this. Whereas maybe Adam's doing it himself at the moment, or somebody else in that team, so they don't have to get on another person just to do that one activity. Because at the moment, if Joby said, "Oh, that's what we're doing, and we're going to keep the costs down. We don't need to pay an extra person," I'm all here to try and minimize costs until we get to certification and we're starting to see some money actually come in. Because at the moment we are against the clock, aren't we?
Massively.
Yeah, against the clock, basically. Yeah.
Well, I actually, and this is my own fault, I actually thought we were more against the clock than we actually were until I watched your video. And guys, if you haven't seen his video on the financial breakdown between ACHR, it was ACHR and Joby.
Yeah, ACHR and Joby. It was based on their earnings.
My God, if they do unlock that capital, I'm actually not too worried about them diluting for a while. I do think they may have to make one more cash raise.
But if we're talking about that cash raise once they've sort of reached the part certification, and that is just to basically scale up production, I'd be a very happy man if that happened. I'd be very comfortable in that cash raise.
Oh yeah. Need to duck out, guys. Catch you later. Love you. The second best YouTube channel on YouTube. All right. Bye, second best YouTube channel.
See you later, Baz.
All right, Baz. Thanks a million. Dylan Rogers. Oh, guys, by the way, please hit that subscribe button. And if you have, hit that like button. And I will love you long time. Do you think that when Carlos Tavares left Stellantis, that put a slowdown on the deal for the 400 million to cover manufacturing and labor, which was looking...
We did discuss this, didn't we, when that happened? When that news broke, that was the feeling that it could be the case. And I feel like Adam did sort of dance around what that 400 million was for. And I'm hoping that that deal hasn't... I'm hoping that deal's still there. That's what
I hope that hasn't fell through.
But like, obviously, as I said earlier on in the video about Toyota, we don't really know what that is either. So maybe it's just part of keeping these deals private and like secrecy with
ACHR bulls are probably not going to agree with me, but there's just something about it that I just think Toyota screams to me more than Stellantis does. Like, as a safer bet, I don't feel like Toyota would be investing 500 million into a company that they don't think is going to succeed. And they're going to help them every step of the way. If you look at Toyota's PR and advertising, they're on point.
True.
What do you think?
No, I think that's true. I imagine 400 million though is the same sort of breath. Like if I was going to invest 500, it's similar in a similar vein. But yeah, I think Toyota is more well known than Stellantis. Well, for me anyway. But I think that's as well because Stellantis is a bit of a it's got a multiple. It's like a few umbrellas underneath them. So
Bit of
I think,
everything.
yeah, exactly that. But I don't know. I think both of them, as long as they both get them, I'm actually very confident in both achieving part certification, and I'm hoping this year, without any other raises. But I don't know. Both of them sort of danced around it and didn't really explain to us what we need to do. I know they've been speaking about manufacturing, and maybe both of them just are waiting for that certification over the line, and then
Well, that's
the
what I was
manufacturing
about to say.
is
Like,
what this
guys,
money
don't
is.
quote me on this, but I really could see once certification gets over the line, the likes of Toyota, what's stopping them from firing another 500 million at it?
Yeah, and to be fair, both of these companies, like both Stellantis and Toyota, manufacturing really is where they're going to be able to give their expertise.
Yeah.
Like, trying to navigate through the regulations, they could probably say, well, this is what we've done, but the car regulations were already in place. They're not trying to navigate a brand new minefield. They're like, these two are trailblazing through the regulations for eVTOLs that don't exist. So I
But
don't
then
know how
have
much
you ever thought that, say, like Toyota and that, they profit off the likes of Uber and that. And like if Uber, like if these are taken away from Uber, then there's going to be less Uber drivers, which means there's less Toyota buyers.
Possibly,
then,
but I don't know if I imagine they're still going to be selling Toyotas. I don't know how big. I don't know how big the Uber market is for them, because I imagine it goes mostly to the Uber driver and then Uber themselves.
William Pearson, thank you very much, mate, for that.
Thank you very much, Will.
William, I want to do something for you. He said, appreciate the work, gentlemen. I want to do something for you, William. Put a comment in here for a question or a discussion, a statement that you want me and Reese to discuss. It can be around eVTOLs, it can be around Joby, ACHR. It can even be around Hover. But put it in the comments, and me and Reese will make a video that'll come out this week around it, and we'll shout you out in the video. But thank you so much for that.
No, really appreciate it. I guess, just speaking then about ACHR, does the design worry you where they are with the FAA regulations? They're slightly behind. Do you think that Joby is going to get a major first mover advantage?
The only thing that worries me with Joby, I think we've said this before. Yes, they have the 5 aircraft, but this is going to be completely counter to what I've been saying all stream. I just want to show that, like, I'm not completely anti-Joby, but the likes of ACHR, I just feel like that Covington, Georgia facility is going to be, like, game-changing. Yes, they reckon they're only going to make 10 this year, but to my knowledge, their goal is to make, at full scale, 650.
Yeah, that's
nothing to be sniffed at. However, I'm going to ground a few of the new guys. 650 is a lot of aircraft, but if we want this to be all over the country, we're going to need thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of aircraft.
So they mentioned in the earnings call it was 50 million, wasn't it, to develop that Georgia factory?
Yeah.
So are we saying that maybe that 50 million could buy you another factory, and then you'd be doubling that? You'd be at 1,300 then, and then obviously you go up in scale once the demand starts coming in.
You know what? That's a good thought. I actually never proper thought of it. One thing I really want to know, I think ACHR's a little bit different where they'll be selling some of these midnight aircraft, but the likes of Joby has got my head scratching a little bit. Can you still hear me? I don't know why that's gone off.
I can, yeah. Your camera's gone off there for a second.
I will get my camera.
The likes of Joby, you were saying just the likes of Joby's making your head scratch.
Yeah, the likes of Joby is make my head scratch. So, like, say,
is it in regards to their factory? Because I think
no,
at the moment
it's say if it's, I don't know, $30 a ride or something like that.
Yeah.
How quick are they going to get the money back that it's cost to actually generate this vehicle or like create this vehicle? I will get my camera back, guys.
Yeah, I do understand. I think there must be something to do with the servicing. like them providing the service, the country will have to pay, or the town or city is going to have to pay for the benefit of it, because otherwise they would just keep up with the ACHR model. Because I know that's what they were saying about, as Dylan's mentioned there in the chat, about how they're moving to Abu Dhabi Aviation, and what they're going to do is they're going to sell the Midnights straight to Abu Dhabi Aviation, but then they're doing all the servicing. So they are paying for the aircraft outright, and then from there, Abu Dhabi Aviation then is taken up. Can you hear me there, Liam?
Yeah, I can hear you there.
Yeah, so I was basically just discussing there about how the Abu Dhabi Aviation, how they're, because ACHR are selling directly to I
lost it when I seen that and all. That actually got me. I couldn't come back on with it when I seen it. I was like, nah, bro. You know what? Cole, shout out for that. That is a man.
Never go Big Reese. Never go Big...
You won't like it when he goes Big Reese. So what were you saying? You were saying Abu Dhabi Aviation.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Basically, discussing about Joby, and I was just mentioning that I presume that they must be selling a service, because at the moment where Abu Dhabi Aviation are buying the aircraft, they're doing all the servicing themselves, the vertiports.
Go on. They're doing servicing and doing vertiport.
Yeah, they're going to be obviously servicing, building the vertiports all themselves. I think that the countries then that will get Joby's basically S5 or S4, I think that city is going to have to pay for vertiports to be installed for basically the benefit of having that in the city.
Yeah.
It must be. That's the only reasonable way.
I can understand the likes of the infrastructure, but are they going to pay for the likes of the S4s? If Joby are making money, it'd be like National Rail paying for the trains, but the actual train company getting the money for it. It'd be like Uber paying for your car, but
yeah,
the government paying for your car, but Uber getting the money.
There probably will be subsidies because of the environmental side of it, but yeah, I don't know about.
I really am scratching my head around the profit.
Yeah, I think the ACHR model at the moment of selling them directly off, even though they won't be able to sell them. Sorry, the ACHR model of selling them off and then letting them service it seems like quite a good model, but I guess you're getting that recurring profit from the visit from the drop-offs.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe the price target starts a little bit higher, like they did start with Tesla. The price was higher, and then you lower it down the more they get rolled out. So it might be a premium service at first.
And especially, this is not hating on the guys in the Middle East, but guys, you have money, so why not charge them the high-end price? Them guys can well afford $100, 200 trips. So why not just charge them the extra few? Because it's risk mitigation as well. Because I feel like when you have such a small price target for them, you're going to have to get more and more of these aircraft, and you're going to have to fly them under stringent conditions just to make any sort of money whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I think, and it's with everything, it's about how it's easier to sell at a high price to a few people than a low price to a load of people. In terms of the way you're servicing and how many flights you actually have to do, the cost of the electricity, how much maintenance you need on each aircraft. So you'd be better to do a higher price with less flights rather than to do a much lower price and basically spread yourself very thin. And then if there is any problems, you basically don't have the margin to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, I think until they get up to mass scale, I think they need to keep a very. I'd be keeping steep pricing at the beginning, but that's just until they get established in the market, and this is where PR will help, because if they see celebrities and everyone going, it will become the next big thing that everyone wants to do.
I want to do one thing for the guys. So, William Pearson, Cole F, Dylan Rogers, Zed Stacker. Fire into the comments what video you want me and Reese to discuss this week. So it can be, I don't know, Joby and ACHR, who was the better buy. It can be, I don't know, deep dive on New Horizon aircraft. I can promise you that won't be a good one, but it can be. It will be my honest thoughts. I'm not gonna try and help a stock that I have no belief in. But yeah, jump in and tell us there. Reese.
Yes.
That is more or less it.
We're
doing the Road to Glory. We'll probably drop that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think the football put a bit of a stump on it today. I'll be dead honest with you guys. I don't know, was it just me? But after them 2 live streams, I was more or less, I was wrecked, mate. And then I done a video the next day, and if any of you guys watch that video, you'll probably realize that like it's just me rambling, because like I'm just so tired at that stage. But thank you so much, guys. We had another big 100%. Stream today. I can't thank you enough for this.
100%. And
make sure to hit that subscribe button, and same time next race, you know.
Exactly, yeah. A bit more big race.
Guys. Thank you. Yeah, see big race. Right. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys. See ya.